So for like this is for my insurance plan. What about any other like saving plans, things like that? Or would you suggest me just increase my premium every month, like the investment premium, or will you suggest me to sign up another saving plan or things like that?
I would suggest to you what you need to do first. What we can do now is for us to find out what you actually want to do, even though you may not have any idea.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now it's like savings as what normally is done. Savings. Some people will say I put aside some savings. So what is
And
your
what is
concept?
my goal, is it?
Yeah. In terms of like,
Uh,
what is your goal? What is your concept about saving?
mm, my plan, I want to have early retirement.
Great, right? That's good.
Mhm.
So in order to have early retirement, have you set a like an like age of when you want to
42.
retire? So at the point of
Previously,
what?
my plan, sorry, yeah,
Never mind, go
sorry.
ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Before that, my plan, I have just a very rough plan that month every year I need to put aside another like 40,000. And then I need to have every year the 6% increase. I mean, from the compounding effect, 6% to 8% like that lah. For me to achieve a 42 years old retirement with a monthly expenses maybe 4,000 to 5,000 if I'm not wrong.
So monthly, how much you're going to put aside?
Uh, I I only calculate per annum. That one is 40,000 per annum. Put aside 40,000 per annum.
6%
Mm,
return,
if I'm not wrong.
okay.
I have two plans. One is 8%, one is 6%.
So you are looking for like a retirement income of between 3 to 4,000 per
Mm,
month.
mm, yeah. With I will settle all my loan before that.
So relatively, you would have around 13 more years,
Mm.
13 more years to achieve that. Have you calculated like how much you're going to get based on this?
What do you mean by get from this?
Yeah. If you're going to put aside 40,000 now every
Mm-hmm.
year, and by the
The
time you,
total amount is it?
yeah, what
Plus
is
the
your,
compounding effect.
as a, with the compounding effect?
Uh, I can't exactly remember actually. What I calculate with that table right that time, because my aim is to have 3 to 4,000 per month. After my retirement, that means 1 year is uh like 50,000. So the total amount that can create every year 50,000 for me. That is my concept at that time. I forgot that amount already. So divide by 6%, is it?
Multiply by 6%. So now I'll, we, I'll show you a brief overview of what you mentioned.
Mm.
So what you're going to do, you're putting in PMT means monthly payment. Sorry, yearly payment. So you're going to put in 40,000
Mm.
per year. And your current age now is 29. Okay, and you want to retire at 42. So that is 13 more years. Okay, so N signifies 13 more years. I would be 6%. So that would be rate of return. Okay, so if we factor all this in, by the 13th year when you are 42, FV is equivalent to future value. So you would have $755,285. Okay. So you just keep that in mind first.
Can I take a picture of this?
Yeah, can. Done? So if we based on the lifeline, so let's say this is where you are today, and you wish to retire at the age of 42. Okay. And here equals 13. Right? And will be the years from now until then. So what you require is you need to accumulate a certain amount. And then from the age of 42, how long do you think you will need to live on your retirement?
How long do I want or do I wish? This is a very tough question. I don't want to live too long. It's very lonely.
It depends, okay. I mean, that's your perception of it. So let's say if I were to use an average, okay, an average amount based on mortality, based on factual studies that's done. Okay, so we work on the age of 80 years old. Okay. So at the age of 80 years old, what happens now is how much would be the end?
42 to 80, 38.
So end will be 38. So there are 38 years.
All right.
Okay. So within that 38 years, you have options. That means you'll be living out, let's say if we base on 4,000 your on your monthly, your standard of living from for age of 43 onwards. So that will make around 48,000 per year. Okay. So if you multiply, this is basically a rough calculation. This is more like a very superficial calculation. Okay. Because if there is an in-depth calculation like what I do for financial planning, I can do that, not now, but I can calculate for you. Definitely, the amount that you need by the time you're 40 is definitely a lot more. It is actually seven figures, yeah, because we adjust inflation into it. However, for now, if we base on just 48,000 multiplied by 38 years, so you need to have 1,824,000 that you need to use 48K every year. And then there's other choices where you need to consider as well. First thing is whether you want your capital to retain your capital by the point of time. That means based on your current existing resources that you have, right? Then you accumulate. Okay. So what happens after that when you retire? So the option here will be either you preserve your capital. So for short, we call it CP. CP is capital preservation. Or capital liquidation, CL. Meaning that capital preservation means that you reach a point in time, let's say you have 1 million by the time you are 42. So you still retain the 1 million. The 1 million can go into other instruments that can provide you income, right? Or either on a monthly or annual basis. Okay, and yet you will still retain the value from there. Okay, capital liquidation means that you do not put anything, you retain the amount there, but the amount will deplete because you don't put into any other instruments, or maybe you just put into fixed deposit, for instance, right? And then just leave it there in for safekeeping in the bank, and then utilize the funds from there year in, year out. Okay, and then until by the time 80, by the time 80, that means there's nothing left. Okay, so the only cause of concern is a lot of people sometimes there's one issue in life is this. The concern is living too long. So that can be a problem. Even though you may not like it, sometimes it's not the choice that you make, but it's because of the gift that is given upon us, and that we live longer. Okay. And then what happens then if we are basing on capital liquidation? See, so the word capital preservation, sometimes it helps. It doesn't mean that we need to put into something that is providing a very high income. No, because of the risk, because of the volatility, maybe we may not be able to afford that kind of risk by the time at that age. However, you put into something that's moderate. Okay. So there are two areas that you need to consider first.
Okay.
Okay. That's why I mentioned earlier, I do not want to just recommend like getting something off from the shelf and then just show it to you and tell you what you need. It doesn't work that way. It won't work for my way of how I do my coaching for my clients in their financial planning. See? So do you want to take a shot of this first?
Yeah, I took already.
Sure, yeah. Okay. Let me stop sharing. So it comes back to what you need to do from now until your retirement age that you wanted, which is 42 years old. Okay, so what are the things that you need to do first?
What I need to do, I need to think about this.
Yeah, that's one. Okay. One way of looking at it is, if I may to ask you, you mentioned like 6%. Would that how do you come to deciding at the interest rate of 6%?
Actually, how I come to this, because I from that table, right, three factors that I try to adjust, whether I extended the age of retirement or the amount of capital that every year I can put aside, or the percent that, but this factor is not non-modifiable from my point. 6%, 8% is not under my control. So that I balance between stock market and unit trust, things like that, which is a safer option. And there is another high risk one, which is stock market. So stock market, I wouldn't expect to have a very high return because I'm not really good in it. So I expect to have 8 to 10. That is very good for a year for me. And then unit trust now is like 4, 5, 6 like that. So just take the average of. From my point, I'm not pro in this. I'm trying my best.
I mean, because that is based on what you understand, in terms of the market. In addressing like stock market, like here, I'm not an expert in stock market. And I won't say that I'm an expert in unit trust. Okay, because basically it's this. I invest in all this as well. Investment part in terms of stock market, it depends on your intention of what you want to, how you want to do it. Right? There are people who invest in stock markets because they speculate. So it means they put in the money because they buy low, thinking that the amount, hoping that the amount will go up. So when the price of the share goes up, then they may profit take, meaning that they sell off the shares and then they get their earnings. Right? There are people who do that. And if it's on a long-term basis, normally then we will even select. It's either if you are well versed in how to utilize, because buying shares, basically you buy into the company, you become a shareholder of the company.
Correct.
Right? You need to do your due diligence in understanding the company's profile, their management strategy, their financial capabilities, and all this. How sound is their finances? And what are their strategic plans for the future? And what is the market that they're in? What kind of industry they're in?
Correct.
So what are the extrinsic forces that plays a factor? There's two areas. Extrinsic is one is basically what the environmental forces, maybe like COVID, would COVID affect them? Because some industries flourished during COVID. They make a lot of money during COVID. And other industries basically lost money or went bankrupt during COVID. Right? So these are all the extrinsic, external factors that affect. Intrinsic will come in terms of internal. What are the internal factors? Their management.
Change of CEO.
How are their finances?
Supplies.
Then if you know how to read financial reports, that would be good. Okay. So that is more on part. And even doing investments into shares is good if you know the company and the company provides a good, healthy dividend. Right? Because that is income. Right? So dividend comes in every quarterly, they pay out dividend. Then dividend is like, they normally put out how many cents per share kind of thing. So that from that amount, then you can look what is your ROI, how much you purchase a share. Sometimes when you buy, maybe the share price drop. However, that could be due to certain factors, but they are still sound. Okay, and they still give a healthy dividend. Okay, like some of the shares that I invest in, because certain things happen, they drop. Right, like I invest in Top Glove. Okay, so Top Glove I invested before all these things happened.
Long time ago. Wow.
Yeah. So the price went up and then they split twice. So basically I earn and now the price drop a lot because of the issue with US and all, because of their what they call human rights issue that they had with their foreign workers. So their price will drop. However, they still give out a very healthy share dividend. Right? So that is actually my income. So I don't need to go and sell off the share because now my share amount has increased even though the share price dropped.
Correct.
But I won't even sell it out just because it will increase if it increase in the future. Right? Because my strategy is long term.
Correct.
So that is actually part of my retirement income as well.
Correct.
Right? Or even it can help me to offset my expenses. Okay, so that's one part of share. Unit trust, on the other hand, again, same thing. Unit trust, they have like Malaysian market, they have almost like 500 types of unit trust funds. Generally classified into three types. First type is equity. Second type is balance or managed type of funds. Third type will be bond funds. So what is the difference? Can you tell me the difference? What are the difference of these three types?
Bond is the loan, right?
Bond is something like loan.
Equity is but I don't know the second one.
Okay. Equity basically they invest into shares. Okay, shares of companies. So that's why it's called equity. Because equity, the other terminology is called share equity. So they invest in all the shares of companies. So if any typical equity fund, normally they invest in between 40 to 70, sometimes even up to 100 companies. So that's why it's called a fund. managed or balanced funds basically are a combination of equity and bond.
Oh, I see.
Okay, why? Because equity normally the volatility is higher. Their return rate is high, very high. Only thing the volatility and the movement
Correct.
is also high. Sometimes it can just shoot up and then it go down and then it shoot up again. Okay, balance is more moderate because it's a combination of equity. So depending on their exposure, whether they have a higher exposure to equity or a lower exposure to bond. However, this is actually the job of the fund managers. They are the ones who do the adjustments in terms of the exposure. Then of course we have bond. So bond, I might say, is like something like loan. Some countries or even governments, they provide kind of loan, or even banks do that. It's more like if they need cash, right? For instance, like governments need money, so they issue bonds out so that why people can buy, people buy the bonds, right? So when I buy the bond, because I know my country is on a certain, maybe they're doing some investments, so they have certain what they call developments that they require funding, so they sell the bond, right? And then at the later part, maybe they will buy back from us, or maybe we just sell it out. Banks are the same. Banks sell a lot of banks, they sell bonds because then they need to utilize the funding also, right? And then they give you an income or a dividend, be around 3%, up to some even up to 5% per annum, or even slightly more than that. But normally they may not go more than 7%. That's in Malaysia's context. Okay. So if you talk about returns, equity normally can be hovering more than 8%. Right, depending on how the market is moving, or depending on how their fund is doing. Bond will be more than what bond is offering. So it's more than 5%, sometimes can go up to 10% on balanced funds, okay, or managed funds. Okay. So then again, when you want to do investments, then you also have to take into account inflation. What is your understanding of inflation, or what is your understanding of how much inflation is now?
3.
Yeah.
That's
Normally, average is about that, because it dropped due to COVID. It dropped again. Right? However, it will still increase. No, but in all said and done, 3 is more like the official figure, right? That is more on the superficial. But in actual fact, the hard fact is definitely more than 3.
6, 7.
Yeah, up to 6 or 7, sometimes even more, depending on localities. So, however, if we base on a general rule, okay, it's around 5%. Okay. So that means if you're going to put into an investment that can give you 6%, but then you are still fighting against inflation of 5%,
11%.
your rate of return is only 1%.
Yeah.
Right. That means if you do the direct calculation from there. So whether is it worthwhile, that means you need something that can provide you with a higher rate of return. Okay. First thing is 13 years. Is 13 years a long period or a short period, or medium period?
Consider short.
Consider short, yes. So when it's short, that means you need to do something. You need your money to work harder for you in that sense. So we need to look into areas whereby they can
Higher
provide
profit.
you with double-digit growth per annum. So what are the instruments out there that can provide double-digit growth? There are many. Okay, but of course, all these were tied up to a certain risk. Okay. Only thing is to understand. So everything is risky if we do not understand what we are going to. But if we understand what we are going to, then we can mitigate the risk.
Correct.
Right? We can move around and navigate around all these risks to ensure that we have our investments are efficient and productive, and there's a certain risk tolerance level over there. Okay, and then coming to in terms of by the time you retire, and then after that, what you need to do, what you want to do. Okay, so that is up to you to decide, because 3,000 to 4,000 based on current, and that is also taking into context that you are now still single, isn't it? Right. So by the time by that time you would have a family, for instance, and then that would change the whole dynamics altogether, right? So, but for now, because we always based on what is your current situation right now. Okay. So to have that in place, basically for you to again to consider. So like I said, I won't want to go into details what you need to do yet, but I just want to find out. So let's say if right now, would you be comfortable to have something of that gives you a return of around average, at least around 10% to 15%?
10 to 15 sounds good.
Okay, and then we will look into what are the areas that you can put in, either on a per annum basis or even on a monthly basis that you can go into.
Monthly basis. Got me?
That is?
I heard about this. I ever attend a talk about a private equity one. I heard about that. That is giving monthly, and per annum is about 13 with the lowest capital lah. Forgot already. 13 is no. Yeah, 13 to 24% per annum that time, if I'm not wrong. But if like other than private equity, what other instrument that can give 10 to 15?
Foreign exchange. Okay.
Foreign exchange.
Because, you see, the whole concept is because money is a concept, right? Foreign exchange is also currency. That one can provide you with around between 4 to 7% per month.
Wow.
Okay. That one is something that you can also explore into. Okay. Again, but because then the volatility is high. Only thing is because they work on certain what do you call certain threshold, whereby they always they buy at a certain amount and then they will sell at a certain amount, and at times they cut losses. So this is more like a funding fund as well. Forex you can go individually. Now you can do that on an individual basis. However, you need to be very savvy and you need to be very well versed into this kind.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there are those whereby they don't. However, you leave it to a fund manager. But the fund manager make ton of money from that because of the commission. Nonetheless, because it is their expertise, and of course, this is something that we willingly pay to them. However, if you can get between 4 to 7% per month, that will be very, very high.
Yeah. Okay. That's a lot already.
It's a lot.
I'm not greedy. Just go with the plan. 10 to 15 per annum is a lot compared to what I'm planning now.
So it depends. So it depends on how you want to work it out. Sometimes to the point as well, you can even once you maybe after a certain number of years, you have accumulated and you can put aside a certain amount into this.
This you mean the foreign?
The foreign exchange. Okay, you can consider that.
Foreign exchange, like if let's say because what I know about foreign exchange is trading the foreign currency.
Yes.
Is there any fund manager or any product for that also?
There is.
Oh.
There is. See?
You have?
Frankly, like you see, my concept of doing things is sometimes I don't want to sell you things that even just to sell you things that I have, right? Because I represent, I'm a wealth coach, right? I'm a CFP, certified financial planner, but I'm still also tied with Eastspring, which is the unit trust company, and Prudential, which is their insurance company. Okay. So I don't necessarily want to just sell you the products that the company has only, but I'm giving you the options of what is available out in the market. Right.
From where I can know about this, the foreign currency thing?
Foreign currency, the one I can send you some details. You can be part of the Telegram group.
Oh, okay.
Right, you can be part of the Telegram group, and then you look into it. Okay, I can give you the website as well. The website is basically is an external offshore fund managers. They are all offshore. Right, they are based in Hong Kong.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that means in order to invest in there, we need to transfer money to them.
Wow.
However, all these they are all regulated.
Mm.
To be on the security aspect, they're all regulated. They have their licenses. They are not those scammers, because this platform has been around for, I think, more than 15 years already.
Mm.
Okay.
But they are regulated in Hong Kong, right?
Yeah, they're regulated there. Okay. By the something like our Bank Negara here lah. Company is registered in Seychelles, because normally all these companies, they have an offshore. They open up the company in an offshore, right? But trading wise is all done in Hong Kong. So basically, when they do forex, is either they trade on both sides. And that means they can use two currencies like USD to British pound. Okay, or maybe Canadian dollars to euro dollar. Kind of thing. So depending on. Right.
So do we need to have a foreign currency account first?
No need. All you need to do is convert your funding in US dollar. Because they trade based on US dollar.
So when we do this foreign telegraphic transfer, right? So from our Malaysia ringgit account.
Yeah, from a Malaysia ringgit account, they will give you an account, you transfer to there. Right. Once they receive it, they'll process it, and then once they approve it, okay, it will be reflected on your account on that portal. And what you need to do, you need to transfer that account to the fund manager's account. Okay. So once the fund manager receive it, because they have also set timeline for funding and trading. When they start trading, you cannot do any more funding in. So trading normally takes around 2 weeks. So we need 2 weeks. There are certain days that we'll do the trading. Okay. So there will be times where there will be losses. That's fine. But then, and as long as there's profit, they will just profit take from there, accumulate it. And then by the time, by the closing date, as long as there's profit, the profit will be channeled. Your capital will still remain. The profit will be channeled back to your account.
The
so
account that I transfer.
Yeah, so depending on the amount, because the minimum funding for investment is 1,000 USD.
Okay.
So that means if you accumulate and you have more than 1,000, you can put back. So that means you want to compound the earnings back again. So when they open up for funding, you transfer back into the fund manager's account.
Okay.
If you need the money, you just withdraw. So the withdrawal process takes between sometimes can be as fast as 1 day only. If I can submit withdrawal today, maybe by tomorrow evening I will receive the money. So depending if it's
withdrawal
over
have charges?
No charges. What they do is because the profit is already taken into account their commission.
They will deduct their commission before they give us profit. Okay.
And then when we withdraw, the money will be transferred back to us, right? So the transfer fees is all covered by their side. Okay. Only thing is, what is the rate of exchange from there to here?
Yeah.
So this is basically my opinion. Doesn't necessarily have to be yours. To me, I go into this because of the USD. USD is strong, right? So the benchmark for normally for investment is always based on the US dollar.
Correct.
And our ringgit sucks, to be frank. So
everyone's done.
Yeah, so it's a good way for me to put my money there. I won't put all definitely, but I put a certain amount because I need it, especially now my children are starting to go into education for their studies. See? So I have something set aside, but frankly, it will never be enough. So I need something that can provide me with a higher rate of return. That's why I go into this.
I see.
And that is also a portion for my retirement. When I really retire, which I don't think I'll retire, but it will be good for me to have a certain income that I don't need to go and seek out for.
Yeah, at least financially retire lah. Then what we want to do after that, there's another thing.
So this is actually a context about what is financial independence. So if I were to ask you, what is your understanding of financial independence?
If my ideal life after retirement is I no need to like chase for money again. I no need to wake up every day in the morning thinking about I have not enough money to pay for my bills and for my family and things like that. I might continue working as a physio or whatever, but that is not for money anymore. Maybe. Or even I cannot fully 100% achieve that. But if I could achieve, like maybe I just need to work for a bit of hours just to get some living cost, that is okay already. Just not so stressful and every day like thinking about that thing. That's my ideal type of living after retirement.
So the context of financial independence is this. Is an explanation here. Financial independence means that when your passive income, okay,
It's more than expenses.
is equivalent to your expenses.
Equivalent to expenses.
Okay, it's equivalent to expenses, then you are already financially independent because you do not need to rely on your active income to finance to pay for your expenses. Your passive income is already paying for your expenses. So then by the time you can actually decide whether to retire or stop working, or even do something that you really like to do. What's your passion? Some people have their passion, what they want to do. Okay. That means they can just quit what they're doing because they live on their passive income. That is financial independence. Then you have the other one is something like you mentioned earlier. That is financial freedom to do whatever you want to do because you have no worries as well. So the whole context of sometimes in terms of wealth planning is not only necessary in terms of just having the money, having lots of money, but to be able to live a life, to live a life that you want. It's all about living. Many people are basically going through the motion of life. That's all. Are they living?
Not so.
Not so. Because sometimes it's not the choice that they want. They do it because they think that they have to. They have to survive. They have to pay for this, pay for that. They have a lot of financial commitments. Okay? And even when people start to move up the ladder, they go up in the corporate world, they have higher positions, more salary, higher salary. Yet, their commitment is getting even more and more.
Correct.
They may not have the freedom that they wanted.
Correct.
They are always thinking that they have that kind, they may have that kind, but they are, in a way, thinking that it's supposed to be, but it's not. See, so then what happens? Then they have to really rethink what is in terms of what is the meaning of living for them, how they want to live. Because they go there, they may not even have time for their loved ones. They spend less time with their spouse or even their family, or even have less time. If they don't have family, they have less time to do the things that they wanted to do. The things that they dreamt of when they were young.
All right.
But because they're in that position, then they feel that it's not easy. Some of them may think it's not easy for them to just let go everything and then just do what they want to do because of the commitment that they have. Right. So in the positioning of what you want to do now, which is very good, and then what we need to look out and what you need to think of is what you need to plan next. See, so like these are the areas that you want to do. Okay, and the other part is if we want to go more in depth into knowing what exactly you would have based on what you have now, right? So what I mean by this is that we want to utilize the resources that you have currently. That what include in terms of your savings in the bank. Do you have any other commitments, maybe like loans that you need to pay off?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have EPF?
No.
Okay. And then any other liquid items, not houses and all these, because these are all what they call immovables. Right. We need
I need to
things
let you know all this, is it?
Yeah.
Now or?
Not now. You can send it to me in the WhatsApp once you collate everything.
Okay.
So like your loan, let's say your loan, how much left in terms of your loan, any kinds of loan. Sometimes it could be credit card or study loan, PTPTN, or any kind of loan or any other commitment, right? If you bought a car, that will your hire purchase, how much you need to pay off, because we need also to know your commitment. Okay. And then in terms of your income, whether you are receiving a fixed income or not, or variable, still whatever income that you have, roughly on a monthly basis.
On monthly, not annual.
Yeah, or even an annual lah. If you annual, then everything will be calculated on an annual basis.
Okay.
Okay, because the first thing here is we want to ascertain how much you can get by the time you are 42, based on what you have now. Okay, based on what you have now, that means your existing resources. Okay, and then the investment part, what are the instruments that you can utilize, and that will come after when we reach all this.
Okay.
So I will do the calculations on that. Okay. So by that time, then we will know how much you have, what is your shortfall, what is the exact shortfall that you have, and then what you need to do. Okay, because I will also calculate at the point of your retirement age starting until 80 years old.
Okay.
How much you require to utilize, not that 1.8 million is definitely going to be more than that.
Yeah.
So that means by the time at 42, what is your RIN? What is your retirement income need?
Okay.
So that means then again, you also need to you can feel free basically here to dream what you want to do. Find out what are the passions. So these are actually like markers in your life. What are the goals that you want to have? Not just to be restricted to thinking that, oh, I just want to spend, maybe I need 4,000 to 5,000 per month because I need to do this. It's always nice and good to always have certain milestones, certain goals in place. Right? Because dreaming is free. Remember that. To dream is free. You don't need money. So always go and think what you want to do with your life when you retire.
Okay.
And even to do what you want to do even now. Doesn't mean that I need to, life only starts after I retire. No, what you need to do from now until then. Like what you said, now maybe you're doing this in Mua. Right? Just because your father passed away recently only. But there is always adjustments in your life. And then later part, how are you going to enhance on your career, what you need to do. And then that eventually would also maybe have an increase in income. Maybe not, right? But maybe because you do things because you are someone who likes to help people. But if I were to ask you now, what do you actually want to do? You mentioned earlier on that you wanted to, maybe move ahead to go into other areas as well in terms of your career. Are you thinking of moving back to KL?
Yeah. I will be back to KL. I will definitely back to KL, just whether I will travel here in KL or I will permanently be in KL and other city. Yeah. I'm still thinking about it because before that, when I thought I will be here at least for a few years, because that time I need to take care of my dad, I actually have a thought that I want to start my own fitness studio here. I am more into health type of thinking. Yeah, so actually before that I'm in KL, I actually involved in a kind of exercise that is bungee workout, and they wanted to expand down to South Malaysia. Yeah, because I was in contact with that the franchise PIC that time, so they said they want to expand to South Malaysia, and I'm interested in that. So we are actually working on that time, and everything was stopped for a while until now. So that I actually haven't really think about it. Still in the mood of recovering. That was the plan before.
Yeah. Okay. So what we could do now is until to the point that you decide on what you're going to do next. So we will still stick to what I mentioned earlier, right? And then maybe we set a timeline for you to why don't you just collate everything and then you get back to me by by this let me see, Sunday. Will Sunday be fine?
Sunday, what you mean I get back to you once
Send me all the details that I require.
or those amount of what you mentioned just now, or this can be this I got because I got 2 monthly account for my own. I got two for this, so I can send you now a letter for the amount, but about my career planning that I might need some time for that.
Yeah, that's
about
fine.
My income,
Yeah, that's fine. But then income also, so because income plays a part, like are you receiving an income now?
Yeah. For current one, I can send to you.
Yeah. So we based on the current. Yeah, we based on the current first, because whatever you're going to have later on, that is still subjective because it's still not known yet.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So what we want to know is basically what you have currently, what you're receiving currently, then we will work on that. Okay. So the strategy will be, when we work on that, we already know what you can have based on what you have now, and then what you need to do next. Right? What is your strategy later on? Then whatever that you need to do, then we will discuss on our next session. Okay. Right.
Okay. I think
Anything else you want to ask?
I think that's all. So yeah, the final one is, so after this I will continue with the quotation, the updated quotation, right? That means my premium now is 620.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, I think can, no problem. That is the only thing, right? The changes is the multiple crisis care.
That will be, yeah, it will be an added value for critical illness, especially because that one is payout in cash. So the utilization is this, how it works. Medical, we don't have to worry. Hospitalization, we got the medical plan, medical cover will cover that. See? So the only concern is, if I have critical illness, right, would I be able to work?
Yeah.
Most likely not. So if I can't work, I may not have an income.
Correct.
Okay? I still have expenses to cover. So the payout from there, whether it's 100,000 or 50,000 or even 1 million, the payout helps me to lessen the burden I have my commitment. So I don't have to go and dig in. Like I told you the other day, right? We don't save for all this. We save it for other purposes, good purposes. We don't save for if I may fall sick one day or this. No.
Okay.
Right? Right.
Can you send me the critical illness that you mentioned just now? Yeah, that one I read through. Then if anything I don't understand, I will ask you. And then if everything okay, I will just go for with this quotation.
Can you let me know?
Yeah, the explanation and all the clause and they were explained to me, right? Like what you said just now, I can claim up to 4 times. It's included, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I will read through first.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No mention.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time also.
Wow, 2 hours. You spend 2 hours to explain all these things.
No, actually it's fine, because to me, you need to have that kind of understanding. So when you're understanding, then you have clarity in knowing what you can do from now on.
Correct.
So you can see what are your options available.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll talk again.
Okay.
Right.
Bye bye.